Hi. So I want to talk today about tuning into your inner wisdom, your body wisdom, because it's a really important tool that is super, super useful. It's probably the intuitive tool that I use more than any other. I use it every day, multiple times a day. And it's super easy, and you always have it with you because the tool is using your body and tuning into how things feel to you. So our mind will make up all kinds of stories. It'll tell us all kinds of stories. It'll come up with defense mechanisms. It'll come up with resistance. It will play tricks on us. It will do a lot of things to keep us in a perceived comfort zone. And so when we start to work with our body, what happens is that our body is really adept. It's ours. It knows exactly what is good for us and what isn't. And it will always, always, always tell us the truth. It will never lie to us. Sometimes we have to sort through things a little bit, but it will never lie. So the best way to do this, there's a couple different ways. You can do, especially initially, it's kind of a longer version. And as you get used to using it, what will happen is it will become very automatic for you. So what you want to do is you'll want to get very quiet in your body. So it can help to start this with a light meditation or just even getting really quiet for a few moments. And I like to start down at my feet. So I'll just close my eyes and I'll feel my feet against the ground and I'll allow myself to gently relax into my body and into my feet. I'll tune into my breath and I'll make sure that my breath is coming from my stomach. And I'll find a nice, gentle, rhythmic breath where my stomach rises on the in-breath and falls on the out-breath. Then once I've done that, I'll go back into my feet and I'll just slowly bring my attention all the way up my body. I will feel my body. I'll let myself have the experience of being in my body. And I'll do thank you, Bailey. And then I'll just do like a nice scan, a nice slow scan upward. And really as I'm doing it, I will feel myself in my body. So as I'm doing that, another thing that will happen is that I'll notice what's going on in my body. I'll notice where I have tightness or where I have soreness or where I'm uncomfortable. And all of that is useful information to have because it allows you to know what's going on with you. And sometimes if something's chronic, then you'll have a set point of, I always experience this pain in my hip. Or right now, I'm noticing that I have tension in my shoulders. Eventually, you can start working with that more, dialoguing with your body to figure out what's going on. But for this exercise, you just want to notice it. And then you'll just come all the way up. You'll go all the way up to your head. And when you're feeling nice and relaxed, when you're feeling calmed, when your breathing is nice and slow and rhythmic, you can then ask yourself a question. So it could be a question like, is this relationship good for me? Or is changing my jobs a good decision right now? Or should I have friends over Saturday night? It can be anything that you have going on in your world that you're feeling indecisive about. Because a lot of times, we feel like we have to do things that maybe we shouldn't do, or that sound good, or that feel good, not feel good, that we figure is good for us. And the mind will give us a lot of reasons why we need to do that thing, even if our body's kind of telling us we don't. Or we are getting a message that we should do it, but we're for some reason thinking that maybe it won't be good for us. So when you go in and you tune into your body, and then you ask yourself these questions, what you can do is you can just sit with it and you can see how it feels in your body. So a no for your body is typically a constricted feeling. Now I happen to feel it in my heart chakra. So when I feel a no, it's like I feel like I go like this. It's almost like I close in on myself. So even if I'm sitting straight, I'll feel my heart chakra clench up. A lot of people feel it in their solar plexus. Some people will feel it in their neck and shoulders. Some people will have a different experience altogether. Everybody's different. But you'll notice it most likely as a constricted or uncomfortable feeling. And when you get a yes, it will feel expansive. It will feel open. When I get a yes in my body, I typically feel my heart open. It feels like I'm getting bigger. And I'll often smile. I'll find myself smiling. So those are my cues. Again, everybody's different, so just notice what comes up for you. For some people, this is really, really hard at first because a lot of us, especially those of us who are sensitive or who have experienced trauma, and a lot of times both, over the course of our lifetimes, we have spent a lot of subconscious time trying to get out of our bodies, because being in our bodies has not been a comfortable place to be. And so when you first, if this is your first, work with trying to get into your body and with doing these types of exercises, it might not be comfortable, or you might not feel it as strongly. If that is the case, know that there's nothing wrong with you, and just keep working with it. Just keep practicing with it. I love to do the body scan meditation that I shared at the beginning. Is a great way to start your day and end your day, no matter what. Because it really calms you, it brings you into your body, and it resets your nervous system in a way, right? So it can have a very calming effect. So it's a great way to start the day, and it's a great way to end the day. And if you do that and you incorporate this dialogue with your body, at some point in time, it'll start clicking for you. Now, for other people, it'll be easier. And with time, it'll get a lot easier. So over the course of time, you'll notice that it starts coming faster and faster. So now I used to have to stop and sit with it. And if I go into a freeze response for any reason, if something's coming up that puts me into I don't know what I need to do, I will still say, I need a little time to think about this. I'll get back to you tomorrow or whenever. And then I'll do this exercise. I'll really be with the question or the issue in my body. But a lot of times it's very automatic now. And when you start to pay attention, what's so interesting is that sometimes you'll have to do things that you don't necessarily want to do or love or think that you want to do. I'll give you an example. A couple weeks ago, I had an option to do something at my house or to do it somewhere else. And my logical brain was telling me that I really didn't want to do it at my house, because doing it at my house meant I was going to have to straighten up, I was going to have to deal with the dog, Scott was going to have to go somewhere. There were all these things that were going to happen in order for me to do this thing at my house. And so I was trying to text the person that I was meeting with, and I kept trying to say, let's meet at your place. But every time I was going to hit send, my finger literally froze. And I noticed that my body was like, no. And so despite the fact that I did not want to do it at my house, I knew that it was the right thing. I knew that that was the right way to go, because my body was telling me that. And so as soon as I changed and said, okay, yeah, let's meet here, it was no big deal. It was totally fine. And that is something that I find happens a lot. My body hesitates, and when my body hesitates, then I know that there's something more going on, regardless of what my head is telling me. Does anybody have any questions about that? There is an important distinction to make too, and that is sometimes we'll get a no in our head and it may show up as fear in our body. So it's important, especially when you begin working with this, to ask yourself, is this a trigger? Is this a trigger, or am I in resistance, or is something deeper going on? And normally a trigger will send you right up into the upper chakras. It'll be happening up here. So what you can do is you can bring yourself in and you can ask yourself, okay, wait a minute, why was my body responding that way? Or was it actually my body that was responding? Was it my head? Was it my body? What was going on? And then you can go into the question so that you can distinguish between, am I feeling the constriction because I'm afraid, or am I feeling the constriction because it's not a good idea for me? But typically, if you can kind of parse those questions out and be quiet with yourself, what will happen is that you'll start to build that amazing rapport with your body, where your body literally is trying to talk to you 24/7. Our bodies want to talk to us about everything that's going on in our lives, and our tendency is to ignore the information because we have been taught within our families and within our communities and societally to ignore our bodies, no pain, no gain, just move through it, keep going, ignore it. We have been trained to shut down the connection with our bodies. So again, it could take a little bit of time to get back in there, but what I can promise you is that if you take the time to work with this and to be consistent with it, I call my body my greatest divination tool ever. It's way more accurate than any other divining tool I've used, because it's the absolute truth and there's no interpretation needed, and it is always with me, which is perfect. So does anyone have any questions? You can put them in the comments below. I also have a blog post that I've written on that, and I will link that in here for you at the end if you're a person that likes to have printed material, and it has the little meditation that I shared written out. So that will be in here later. And I don't see any questions, but if you think of one later, feel free to put it in the comments as well, and I will answer it, or to message me. And if you have anything that you want me to address in an upcoming Facebook Live, feel free to send that to me as well. And also, if you are looking for a really easy way to take care of your energy body, I do Sunday night group remote healings, and they're awesome, and it's a great way it's a 30-minute recorded healing meditation, and it's a great way to keep up with your energy field, and you can get more information about that in the comments as well. I'll put it there. So thank you so much. Thank you, Melissa. I appreciate that, and I hope that you all have a really wonderful day. Thank you so much. Bye.